Part of developing a strategy is to have a really good diagnostic of the situation. And there's one framework that's really common in summarising the diagnosis, and it's called the strategy matrix, or the GE strategy matrix, or sometimes the McKinsey strategy matrix. It's also developed, for those of you who've heard of it, from the original BCG, Boston Consulting Group matrix. And it basically plots the attractiveness of the industry against the competitive advantage of the business. So let me just explain those two ideas briefly. Number one, attractiveness of the industry can be thought of in several dimensions. The size of the industry, normally bigger is better. The growth rate, normally growing is better. And the average profitability. In the version I like to use, I like to make average industry profitability the key focus of the y-axis on this matrix. And we'll explain a little bit how we add in growth and size later. So for example, pharmaceuticals is well known as a very profitable business. Branded goods is often quite a profitable business. On the other hand, other businesses like the airlines business are notorious for being very unprofitable. Then along the bottom of the matrix is the competitive advantage of the business, by which we mean, does this particular business have some kind of advantage over its competitors, or disadvantage versus its competitors, that would give it the chance to earn higher or lower than the average profitability. So you can think of these dimensions in financial terms. The y-axis is showing you the average profitability of businesses in this industry segment, and the x-axis is saying whether this business earns above or below the average. And so the combination of the two would say what the actual profitability was of the business. Now, there's some other dimensions we can add. First of all, we want to segment the business. We want to split it up into its component parts. So if we were to talk about branded goods for Unilever or a very large consumer goods company, that would vary by product. We might have some detergent products, soap products, we might have some food products, and within food there'd be various subcategories. You can see that we can take any industry like packaged goods, and then we can segment it into its component parts. And each of these can be positioned on this matrix. So this is a very useful matrix when you're competing in lots of segments, because you can show each of the segments independently on the matrix. Once we've got their position, we can also show the size of either the business or the industry in total, just by the size of the bubble that we draw. And we can also show whether it's growing or shrinking, perhaps by colouring the bubble. So green would be growing, red would be shrinking. Now, finally, we can think about linkages between the business, which are not shown actually on this chart, but we can sort of look at the portfolio and say which of these combinations of businesses might make sense. Some packaged goods might go well together because they're all sold through a common outlet, and perhaps there are economies of scale in distribution, for example. Now, why I like this matrix is because it's also quite action-oriented. Once you've placed businesses on this matrix, you can then pretty easily begin to see what you want to do with them, what their mission should be. For example, if you're in the bottom left corner, then their mission is to fix themselves, restructure, or get out of the business, sell it off, close it down. Whereas if you're in the top right-hand corner, you've got a very strong position. Probably you'd like the status quo to continue. The key issue here is how do you defend the business, and the actions you should take should be about defending your position, not allowing it to slip. If you can grow, so much the better, but that might be hard if you're a very strong, dominant player already. So just keeping the current situation, defending it, is probably the main goal. So you can get a lot of information on this chart. There's quite a lot of dimensions you can get in here about the industry, about your position, the size, the growth, the profitability, and you can summarize the analysis that you've done before in a simple way, and also that will point you to how you should change the business and how you should modify it. So I hope you find this a very useful framework, and I hope we get the chance to discuss it more.